And welcome to the Escape with Nick and Adam. My name is Nick.
And I'm still upset over Christopher Lloyd's performance as Uncle Fester. I don't think he was a good fit at all. I think he did this a lot.
That's during a holiday season, that's a bold statement, sir.
Dude, he sucked. Come on.
It's funny. Just before
And I'm
Comic-Con.
Adam.
Oh, yeah, he's at, by the way. Anyway, we're bold right off the gate. We're right off the rails. Because my wife and I sat down to watch it just a few weeks ago, like right around Halloween. And it's funny because I'm sitting here watching. I was like, there's not a chance they would make this movie today. Not a bleeping chance they would do this movie today. Just between the violence between Wednesday and Pugsley, and I'm like, not a chance with that. That would not fly today.
No, I agree. It wouldn't fly today. And he was fine when I was a little kid, but like I said, he kept making this face through the whole thing. It drove me nuts.
All right, well then recast it. So who would you have played
at that time?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a good call. To tell you the truth, maybe Bobcat Goldthwait.
Interesting, because that was early '90s. I think Bobcat he's still a thing.
Yeah, I mean but see, he wouldn't have gotten cast because they would say, well, it's Bobcat. He's got to be going rah, rah, all the time.
Yeah, man.
Which he does not do at all anymore.
No, he as it turns out, 30 years later, he just talks like a normal person.
Yeah. I saw him do live stand-up like when I was like 21 at Chaplin's. And and he was like, at first I was surprised at how many cars were in the parking lot, and then I remembered it was league night.
That's right, because Chaplin's was bowling alley too.
Yeah.
Real quick, Vincent D'Onofrio. But I'm trying to remember him. Would that be too much? Too much too soon?
Too much. I'd be like, hey, Wednesday, Pugsley, why don't you come over here? And then he fucking murders him for real.
You. Yeah. Except you're like, oh no, he's actually gonna murder him. So yeah, that might. I don't know if
Adam's Family with no comedy. That would be the Vincent D'Onofrio one. Adam's Family, no comedy.
I think he might today. He might get that because we're gonna suck all the joy out of the room because it's 2023 and nobody can have anything nice. But I'm just trying to think. I was like, I don't know if I've ever seen Vincent D'Onofrio do anything that's not uber intense and like comedy at all. Like, I don't think I've ever seen him do anything like humorous.
I do not recall.
But anyway, there's casting rumors that are coming out from MCU and for DC, and there's some changes going on over at Lucasfilm's changes. We'll see, because I thought this was announced a while ago, but now their Variety article put it out that Dave Filoni is being put in charge of Star Wars, and I was like, I thought that was already a thing. That's why I didn't even post stuff on it, because I was like, I didn't think that was news. So, but everybody's like, oh, I think it's just one of those things. Disney officially put out the thing saying that, yeah, Dave Filoni's taking over. Everybody's like, oh, good. And I'm like, is it though? Did anybody watch Ahsoka? I was like, was anybody else decidedly not happy with Ahsoka besides me? So
a lot of people said it was very bland. It was bland and it didn't really go anywhere.
Long story short, the people they were going, they literally just switched places. Like Ahsoka and Sabine basically traded places with Grand Admiral Thrawn and the other guy.
Gotcha.
It's like that was a long way to get here. Fantastic, guys. So I'm it's because I started watching more of like Star Wars Theory. Star Wars Theory is, one of the biggest Star Wars YouTubers he's got besides the actual Star Wars channel. Like, he's got like some of the most subscribers on at least in the nerd genre. I want to say biggest on YouTube, but on as far as Star Wars channels goes, he's got one of the biggest channels. And he's not happy with the way things are going with Star Wars, Disney Star Wars either. But he's like, well, Dave Filoni's kind of like the only thing that they kind of got going. I'm like, that's not saying a lot though. So
Yeah.
I was like, have we seen everything else that's being coming out of here? So
I'm a Mandalorian fan. Book of Boba Fett was serviceable to me, but I'm just I don't have interest in Ahsoka, and I don't have interest in the guy prequel to Rogue One guy. What was his name? Harry something.
yeah, I forget his. I forget.
I
That's the
want
thing.
to. I want to say Amos or Angus.
Andor, but it's one of those like if it was good, we would know. That's how
Right.
you know it's not good because no one. As soon as it's out there, like it immediately gets forgotten about.
I'll tell you how we know the Mandalorian was good, even though I know you have feelings.
I
There
have,
was
I
a
have I have reservations about season 3. First
there
two
was a
seasons, I actually
baby.
enjoyed them.
There's a Grogu float at the America's Thanksgiving Day parade.
I sent my wife a picture because there was a big, I think it was Leonardo float of the Ninja Turtles,
Yeah,
and where they put the ropes to attach the float right where the nipples would be on a person, and she's like, "Why? Why did they have to put the ropes there?" I'm like, "I can't tell you." She's
that's
like,
hilarious.
Was it Joel Schumacher? Did he do it?" I was like, "I don't think so. I don't think Joel Schumacher had design of the Ninja Turtle float to put nipples on everything." But that was
That's hilarious.
so. But what do you want to get? You want to get into some of the Batman movie? We'll save the Batman movie stuff for last. Let's get into the casting rumors. So,
Okay.
all right. So I think the biggest set piece that Disney's getting in place for Fantastic Four right now is rumored to be as our Mr. Fantastic is Pablo. Not I want to say Pablo Escobar. That's not right.
Pablo Escobar. All right.
Yeah, that was a deep pull. No, it's not Pablo Escobar, but Pedro Pascal is what the rumors have it.
Oh, I like Pablo Escobar better.
I want a real drug king pig vibe to my Mr. Fantastic.
I don't care if you get an Asian person to play Mr. Fantastic. Yes, I do. But I don't mean that in a racist way. I just don't want Pablo Escobar. I just don't want Pascal. Pedro Escobar. Pedro Pascal. You know why I don't want Pedro Pascal? Because he's not that great.
I think it's one of those, he's hot right now. So that's kind of what they're leaning on to. And like, he's kind of cool in the nerdy circles, I guess, but he's cooling off very quickly for me.
Yeah. I mean, she doesn't look like a Mr. Fantastic at all.
No. And like, it's not even based off acting ability. Cause I think acting wise, he's fine. I think he's actually a really good actor, but it's look, man, anytime you're put as a central figure in anything Marvel stuff, it's going to take up the next decade of your life. Do we want to see this guy as Mr. Fantastic for the next decade?
Well, I would almost put money down that if we seen him as Mr. Fantastic, you'd see him one time, and that'd be for a failure of a movie. And let me just explain where I'm coming from, because I'm not coming from a place of aggression. Marvel is not doing so hot right now. And they're sitting on the X-Men, and they're sitting on the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four is Marvel's first family, as we've said several times on this show. That's the first family of Marvel. Not only when you swing at this one, you don't get 3 strikes. You know what I'm saying? Or you don't get 4 downs, whatever. No, you gotta hit, because there've already been 2 iterations of this that have not succeeded. So you're already fighting that uphill battle. It's not like you're like, nobody knows who Iron Man is. Let's put out an Iron Man movie finally.
Yeah, it's what I said with James Gunn and the whole Henry Cavill issue when your first movie is going to be Superman and you decide not to use the fan favorite everybody wants to be Superman, you're going to go with someone else. Okay, but you can't hit a double, it can't be a triple, it can't even be a home run. It's got to be a grand slam to
Yeah,
say, and now Marvel, what they've done with Phase 4 and up until now with Phase 5, they're in the same boat. They can't
yeah,
they can't fumble the Fantastic Four. If they can't get the Fantastic Four series off the ground, that is you're so screwed. You're so screwed because we've already, how many whacks has Sony was it so no Fox has taken with the X-Men? How many times have they tried to do the Dark Phoenix story? Twice?
they
And they're
made the
0 for
same
2.
movie twice.
And they're 0 for 2 and they still haven't done it. So they're DC and Marvel are in the exact same boat. It can't be a triple, it can't be a home run. It's got to be damn near a grand slam. Like you have to murder this movie. And if they don't, you've already lost so many fans who are and I'll finally admit it. Superhero fatigue is real, and it maybe just not for me, but for the nerds, I don't think it'll ever really be a thing because if you're a nerd, you're a nerd. You're gonna go support nerdy stuff. But to get the normies back, man, you have to crush it. It can't be half-assed, and you can't mess with it that much. But one of the other casting rumors we were talking about earlier, Adam, you want to talk about it?
Go ahead. Yeah, what do we got?
Well, is it so the other casting rumor is it Anya Taylor-Joy is supposed to be a villain. Now it's said she's just rumored to be a villain right now. But the other rumor is that they are going to gender swap the Silver Surfer.
With Anya Taylor-Joy as the Silver Surfer. Okay,
Rumors, and speculation.
remember what I said before we started the show about who I thought should play.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not repeating that, but those rules would have to apply there then too. No, look, Anya Taylor-Joy. This isn't
and especially coming off the coattails of this.
Excuse me. I believe I asked you to put a chick in this and make her gay. It means put a chick in the linguine and make her fucking gay.
So when you have South Park going after Disney in general and just saying that, and then, oh, by the way, the rumors are coming out, oh, we're just going to put a chick in it, make her lame and gay. So it's, that's kind of where I'm at with Marvel has now put themselves exactly where James Gunn has positioned himself with Superman, where it can't be okay. It has to be great. It can't be just okay. So I know I used the sports ball reference earlier, but
it's got to be a win. And you're right about what. Since you bring the James Gunn thing into it, and very good comparison, by the way. That project with what they're doing with casting and the characters that are going to be in it is very ambitious. I will say that.
Yeah, and that was a thing we were going to get to. So now that all the strikes have wrapped up, so now we actually have, looks like Hollywood along with the DC and Marvel are getting things going. And so James Gunn is starting to release some of his cast for Superman Legacy. So, I can't remember who we have as Superman and Lois, but we do know who is going to be our Lex Luthor. Adam, I'm interested in what you think.
Yeah, it's going to be the I don't know his name. He's going to be the guy that played What's that?
Nicholas Hoult.
Nicholas Hoult, yeah, Renfield and Beast from X-Men himself. You found a good actor. I'm a firm supporter in good actors.
I've actually been a big fan of his for a while now, going back to like seeing him in Warm Bodies. My only issue, he's kind of got that Hugh Grant thing where he's so British, where you're like, can he not be so British all the time? Because I know he was actually up for Superman because I didn't realize how tall he is. He's 6'3", and then I think the actor that play Clark is also 6'3", so they're both going to be like physically imposing. But if he's got to be, if they're doing comic book accurate, it's going to be one of those. He's got to go get in the gym too with Superman, because you can't have a shrimp, going against Superman, because Lex Luthor's not a small frame guy. Like, he's big on just about every level, from personality to ego and everything.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's a world-class fencer. He's athletic. He's super smart. He's the mad scientist. He's all that stuff. He's the corrupt businessman.
Yeah,
and I think you can make a very compelling character with this movie if you do it right.
Well, I think so as well. It's just, and I think he's a great actor. I don't think he's had a chance to really shine at least in a character like this, because I haven't seen him. But most of the stuff, he's kind of been, the quote unquote nice guy, and I'm really looking forward to him sinking his teeth into this role. And I think I don't want to quite put it on like the Heath Ledger thing, because I know when Heath Ledger it was announced that he was a Joker, so many people were pissed off.
A lot of
backlash.
Like,
what are you doing? And then he came out, and and the rest is history. But
everybody was like, "Wow!"
What did I just like? Oh, I just saw something special. So yeah, it was David Corenswet is the gentleman who's playing Clark. But it's just I'm really interested by the casting for that. So I think he could. But it's just it's one of those because I think they're going to start shooting early next year from not that that's that far away. So yeah, so I'm right here on the Star. So it looks like they're going to start shooting in March of 24 in Atlanta. So
they're going to shoot right here in the old US of A, huh?
Yeah. Well, down in Georgia. So
Georgia.
So, but yeah, I'm intrigued by the casting. It can quickly fall apart, but yeah, I really like Nicholas Hoult as an actor. So I think he can do very well. So I haven't seen him in a role like this, so I'm very interested.
Yeah, Lex Luthor is one of my favorite characters in DC, and a lot of that's due to Michael Rosenbaum. I'll admit. I have hope for this version of Lex because in an interview with James Gunn, Gunn's like, "We all know you're the best Lex Luthor there ever was. We all know." And he's like, "No," he goes, "No, I'm serious. You are." And they have a little bit of banter back and forth. He goes, "But not good enough to be Lex in your movie, huh?" And he's like, it's funny because James Gunn goes, "No."
Very quickly now. Well, it's the generational thing. For the generation before that, it was Gene Hackman, and then after that, for an entire generation, Michael Rosenbaum is Lex Luthor that a lot of people identify with the character of Lex Luthor.
And they flushed Lex Luthor out very well in Smallville. He was, for 7 seasons. It's hard to argue that he wasn't the best part of that show.
Yeah,
Well,
that's the thing. Especially in a quote unquote prequel style story where you can't have Superman just being Superman the entire time. So the most intriguing thing was probably the villains at that point.
And he did try to be a good person. He tried really hard to be a good person.
That's probably where part of the deconstructing started, right? Is trying to deconstruct who Lex Luthor was. So we can partially blame Michael Rosenbaum for why the stories are the way they are now.
Well, I mean, I would give Alan Moore a lot of that too when he did Watchmen. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Let's deconstruct everything.
Well, yeah, that's it.
Frank
Like
Miller's Dark Knight Returns.
Well, even they're still doing it with Peacemaker. I was like, talk about like the most shallow of characters like that. We don't need to deconstruct Peacemaker. We really don't, guys. There's just not a lot there in general. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't watch all of Peacemaker.
there were things that a lot of people liked. It was just kind of one of those like, it was okay. It was fine. Like,
Yeah.
but I just the story in general, I just wasn't a big fan of. Maybe just because I didn't recognize those villains, and I'm just like, okay, little butterfly people that go in people's brains. Okay, that's pretty neat, I guess.
Blame Waller.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that she was in it too. So yeah, it's yeah. And I was watching I think it was one of the neurotic podcasts. He's like, after the fallout from the Marvels and the absolute flop that the Marvels is James Gunn's kind of got to be shitting his pants, going, "Oh boy," because like if superhero movies were a stock right now, it would be sell, sell, sell. It would be plummeting.
Yeah.
So, but the one thing that DC's always had that they haven't gotten right is they've got all their characters. If they just do them right, they'll be fine. It's not that hard.
Is it? I mean, it's not done right yet.
No, well, that's it. Even the casting for Jimmy Olsen, everybody's like,
I know.
Hold on a second. You cast a white redheaded guy as Jimmy Olsen. Like, yeah. Are you sure? Because that's not the
hip thing to do.
Yeah, that's not what the cool kids are telling you to do. You know, it's just like,
yeah.
Maybe James Gunn is just going to do a comic book accurate movie.
That would be nice. I agree with you, though. It shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be hard. But for some reason, they tend to make it that way.
Yeah. So, so obviously the biggest thing for Marvel is they're getting the cast together for Fantastic Four, and like I said, I think they thought, hey, we got a home run by announcing Pedro Pascal, and everybody's like, well. So, and also we have to go back to Doctor Strange 2, where everybody wanted to see John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, and everybody said, well, maybe not. You know?
Yeah, maybe not so much.
Maybe not so much. And maybe it's probably one of those things where he didn't really get a chance to actually portray the character, but in the brief scenes they did have, everybody's like, maybe not exactly what we wanted there.
God, who would make a good Reed Richards? You know, that's an actor right now.
Well, that's the thing. All the actors that people were bringing up were older actors. Like everybody was saying, the guy who plays House. You know, like that would be like if you were younger, that would be the ideal.
Yeah, that's a good call.
And that I think that's the most common one I've heard. But as far as like today's actors, it's so hard to like. One, you just don't have that many young stars that are, you know, like it's when they started announcing some of the casting for, you know, the first phase of MCU. I'm like, who the hell is Chris Hemsworth? Like, who the hell are some of these guys? You know, like,
yeah, that's true.
I didn't recognize them, but apparently you just have to go over to Australia and go pick all the good-looking guys from over there and bring them over. So it's yeah, maybe just because Hollywood's just not as popular as it once was. But yeah, it's like I can't tell you who the up and coming kids are, because they used to be on, you know, you could even go to like Nickelodeon and Disney TV and start kind of picking through those kids, and there's just not many of those kids sticking around either.
No, a lot of those kids are grown up, and I don't know,
giving the big F you to Hollywood.
Yeah. The one girl, she was on that iCarly show. Wrote
Jeanette
a book.
McCurdy, I was going to bring her up. Yeah.
Yeah, talk about she does not she does not care for her late mother.
No,
Not one bit.
no, I because there was that, and then there was the iCarly, not iCarly, but Victoria, where it was kind of like I think they were all involved with that creepy dude that was on Head of the Class. So
Yeah, yeah.
that nonsense. So
Did you ever see the movie Better Off Dead?
if I have, it's been a long time.
It's an old John Cusack movie.
I say I remember, but I don't because there's a lot of those John Cusack movies that kind of all run together for me.
Right. It was the one where he was fixing up a Camaro and skiing.
Yeah, if it's not the one where he's holding the stereo over his head, it all blends together.
Which one was that? Was that Kickboxer or One Crazy Summer? Not Kickbox. He was in a movie about kickboxing. Say anything. Say
No,
anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
say anything. Yeah, I was like, all right, jeez. I was like, golly.
Kickboxer was Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I was like, was he in a kickboxing movie, Jean Claude Van Damme, that I don't know about? Because I need to see that movie. So, but yeah, I think that's kind of the bulk of the casting rumors. So what do you think, Adam? Are they kind of going the right way? What do you think?
No, they're not going the right way with the Fantastic Four. It looks like they're going in the right casting directions as far as the way people look with hand talent with Superman Legacy. But I mean, again, you got to have grand slams for both of these movies. And I don't think you should gender swap the Silver Surfer. I don't think you should do that at all.
Well,
I think
if because I always thought instead of continuing on with the Avengers saga, it should have been after Endgame. It should have been a very swift pivot to Fantastic Four. I think that was, and I've said it several times. I think that should have been the play. Why they're waiting now? How long now? When did the Endgame come out?
19.
19. You know, we're going on 4 years, then be 5 years before you get the Fantastic Four on screen, which I wouldn't have argued with. Actually, I wouldn't have minded them kind of shutting it down, but it's Disney's not Disney anymore. It's Disney Corporation, and it's just pumping out content.
Yeah, it's just a machine.
Yeah. So, yeah, because there's certain things like you got the Fantastic Four, and then you have Silver Surfer. You can't really play. You got Fantastic Four, you've got Doctor Doom, and you've got Silver Surfer, and then a little bit farther down the line, you've got Galactus and all that. But you kind of got to get those three elements right. You got to get the family, you got to get Doctor Doom right, and then which is actually another casting rumor that I forgot about was Mads Mikkelsen is supposed to be as Doctor Doom. So, which I think that's so far the exciting part because, you've got to get your villain as right as your hero when it comes to casting.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that they're going to fuck around, pardon my language, with the Fantastic Four. And it's a shame because if they got these characters right and they stayed true to them, you can have Fantastic Four and all the superheroes that come along with them, and plus the X-Men in your universe and all the heroes that come along with them, and you don't have to have Iron Man. You don't have to have Thor. You don't have to have Captain America.
So many of the normies have no idea that at the time, before the MCU, Iron Man, not an A-list character.
Not
Captain
at all.
America, not an A-list character. Thor, not an A-list character.
They lost a lot of their luster in the times that we were coming up because the X-Men were so prevalent.
I'm waiting because I think Neurotic, he's supposed to make a video, unless I've missed it, where basically when the MCU started to take off, and they didn't have the rights for their most popular characters at the time, and still are, which is Spider-Man and the X-Men. So in the comics, they actually kind of governed them and kind of brought them down and
They
tried to
did.
elevate the characters they did have the rights for, and it really 2 decades later they're biting them in the ass because the X-Men are like unreadable at this point.
I don't like the fact that they said Jesus was the first mutant.
Yeah, that
is just you didn't have to. You didn't even have to do
you don't have
that.
to go that hard in the paint with
Yeah.
the X-Men.
Whatever happened to just like let's see the X-Men playing volleyball on the beach, having a good time with each other. Because that's what they did do. They still hung out and had quality time with each other. They instead of getting just B-roll of that in each movie.
Well, it's the only like kind of love triangle that I kind of accept in comic books, which is the Jean Grey, Wolverine, Scott Summers, whatever. That's the only one I'll kind of tolerate. I was like, all right.
Hey,
make a decision, would you please?
Did you see that stupid meme I sent you a couple weeks ago about that, where fucking Cyclops put his fingers under Wolverine's nose? He's like, smell that?
Right. I was like, because I imagine that would probably like Scott's, the Boy Scout, but I totally picture he's like, that's right.
Now I did not read. It's just funny. I did not read these X-Men comics, but they got a good, very good review from Comic Book Girl 19, who is just a big X-Men lover. That one. Yep. But Scott Summers, they turned into a villain at one point.
I have no doubt.
And he made a good villain, I guess. So.
Well, that's a problem when you've got like the Boy Scout character because they're always just very plain Jane, which is kind of one of the reasons I never really got into Superman that much. Where he's all powerful, but he's still like trying to do the right thing, quote unquote, all the time. And it's like, man, sometimes you got to let that out, let those guys play in the sandbox a little bit and get dirty.
Yeah.
But then also like you've got Wolverine, where Wolverine's just constantly a dick, basically.
He's a character that he too is on that spectrum of is he too powerful? Well,
that's Adam. That's why I've said I hate, and I'm sure I'll cover characters that I enjoy, but I hate the characters, and Marvel does it more than DC. I think of we don't know our character's power level. I was like, you have to know. Because and kind of the same thing with Magneto. Like, how powerful is Magneto? Well, if you use our imaginations, there's metal in just about anything, so we can have him get his mitts and everything. I was like, well, he has to. You have to have limits as a power. Like, you can't be too OP. But the original OP character is still Superman, which is once again getting back to one of the reasons I didn't care for him, because he's just how do you beat him? Oh, we got this green rock. That'll do it. Be like, that's fucking lame.
True, but God, you shouldn't have to beat Superman. That's why I hate when they villainize him.
Well, yeah,
I hate when they villainize Batman too. Batman is definitely a character that should not be on the spectrum of overpowered, but he is today.
Yeah, well, it's he's the only one who can take down everybody in DC. Be like, it shouldn't be that way. He's still just a dude.
Yeah, I get mind over muscle. I understand all that.
Yeah, and preparing for every conceivable thing, like, you can't.
You can't. That's like in the 70s when they wrote him, a motherfucker would get shot.
Yeah.
Like,
shot and stabbed, and which is actually, and that's kind of getting to one of the things I want to talk about later when we talk about. 'Cause I watched this morning. I was bored and I saw Batman 66 was on, and then I watched the Batman right after. It was a very interesting dichotomy. But yeah, I think DC is just DC is, dude. I don't know.
Not born yet anymore. They, for lack of they aborted, for lack of a better term, their last iteration, except for their Elseworld stuff. The Joker movie world exists. The Batman movie world exists. I don't know how Blue Beetle is supposed to fit in with any of this crap or any of the new stuff, because the further away you get from that movie, it's like,
I think that's one of those. Hey, we've got a really hot actor on the line. Let's keep him let's keep him intact here.
Yeah.
Because he's the kid from Cobra Kai, very, good looking, good actor, very popular. So let's try and keep him in the fold somehow. What if they do it properly? If they can do it organically, that's a different thing. But also getting to the comic book side, Adam, the latest comic book run from Tim Sheridan for the Alan Scott Green Lantern. If Tim Sheridan had not opened his mouth, I would have went out and bought a comic book series featuring this guy. I would have bought it. I at least would have given it the first few issues to give it a try, blah, 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 blah. But no, Tim Sheridan's got to go on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and start saying, if I need you guys to buy my books so that we can, show the homophobes or whatever and, screw those guys. And I'm like, I'm not interested anymore. Because if you can't tell me why your story's going to be good and exciting, and the first thing we're talking about is our character's sexuality, and I'm not interested. I'm just not. If he hurt his line so bad by making that video. If he'd have just said, "Hey guys, please read my book. I hope you enjoy it," that goes so much farther instead of trying to tell me what activist group you're going after. Because I'm not an activist. I'm just a nerd that wants to read comic books.
Yeah, and whatever happened to making your art, just putting it out there and letting it be judged for what it is?
Not a thing. Because I was because I picked this up because it's one of my favorite freaking characters, and I was looking forward to getting that book because it actually had some art that looked good. And I was just like, not interested now. Not even interested. So DC's in a bad spot, and Marvel.
Yeah. Marvel.
They're both in bad spots, and it's and it sucks because like we have our friends over at Night of the Chihuahuas who I think make a really fun, really good horror comic book, and they might not be getting as much pub as they should be getting because no one's interested in the big two. And it's one of those, yeah, you can go get a car from a smaller company, but like it's like comic books in the same way where if the big two are going pretty well, like you kind of need the big two to keep the industry going. And
and neither one of them, they're so far out of touch with their audience, it's ridiculous. I think social media in a way has been a blight on it, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, no, it's just made it's made the microscope larger and the light brighter.
Yeah.
Because I'm just sitting here, I was like, where the hell is Jim Lee? Where is Jim Lee, who's supposed to be what? I forget exactly what his title is, but he's one of the executives at DC. And wouldn't you think they would be out and CD Cebulski from Marvel going, please, what do we need to do to sell more comic books?
Yeah. What do we need to do to get people interested again?
Hey, fan base that we have left, what do you want? What are we missing? What aren't we doing? And they're not doing that. And I don't understand. I don't get it. It's like it's like they're Nero playing a fiddle while Rome burns. It's like, yeah, no, this is fine. Everything's great.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah, no, everything's great.
Move along, people.
Oh, hey, it's Nate. Hey, it's Nate.
What's up, Nate?
How can you invite me to a show as it's on?
Because it's our show, Nate. We do what we want.
I got an idea. Let's start a show.
And I just kind of throw the email. When I send out the things, I was like, I usually tag a few people. If they can hop on, they can hop on. So
well, here we are. The show's over, right?
Well, no,
we're still rolling.
We were actually just talking about you. We were talking about how the miserable state that DC and Marvel is in is actually hurting smaller independent creators like yourself. But also, it's kind of never been greater. It's never been a better spot for smaller creators, though. It's kind of weird juggling act there.
I talked to a creator named Kat Calamia, and she is on the advisory board for Kickstarter representing comic books. And she had a lot of really interesting things to say, but kind of along that line of like original content, something fun, something fresh. I told her about Killer Hair, and I have there's a recording somewhere, but she like pointed and she's like, that is a great idea.
Yeah,
it is too. It's a great script.
I think but if anybody's going to drag the American, comic book industry out of doldrums, it's going to be independent creators, because eventually the big two have to take notice and say, well, we'll either take your books or take your talent and bring them into the fold.
Yeah.
Like once upon a time they had a Vertigo universe. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, they had those. They had, Vertigo, they had Dark Horse and all those, smaller kind of independent, not really minor league, but yeah, the smaller independents.
But Vertigo was owned by DC, but it wasn't in their normal continuity. It was their like Elseworldish type stuff, but they don't do that kind of stuff, and they do mainstream risque.
Yeah. Wasn't Sandman Vertigo?
Yes.
Yes, it was. Yes. Which I've only read half of. I have the whole anniversary collected edition, but I only have half of it. So
So Josh is at San Francisco Fan Expo as we speak.
Oh, nice.
Very cool.
The team comes together like Voltron. Oh, we got our Michigan side. We got our San Francisco side.
I'll form the head.
I say you guys' time at did you already talk about?
We did, but we can talk about it again.
Was it a horrible letdown? And
me and David just fought like cats the entire time.
Yes.
No, it was great.
Did you wear cat suits and then like get signatures and stuff?
Well, we did see some Furbies, so we were just some furries. We were just trying to fit in, be like, hey, fellow furry people.
Hey guys.
But no, it was a great time, and hopefully David said the same thing, because it was just nice. Where like it was so funny because I missed Friday, but I was there all day Saturday, and we kind of joked before. I was like, oh, we'll take David out. We'll go see something, whatever. Dude, as soon as the day was over, we got some food. Went back to the Airbnb. Like we literally at the same time walked into our separate rooms, put on our PJs, came out and sat and just watched football for us tonight. I was like, this is exactly what I wanted. So, because I don't want to go anywhere else. It's like we're just old men. We just want to hang out.
He had a great time from what he told me too. So, thank you guys so much for helping us, or helping the whole. I guess you guys are part of the whole in a way.
Well, I was just freaking out because I know David said Friday was pretty slow, which I kind of expected, but then like Saturday starts off kind of slow, and after a while we're like, and not to say you guys totally came up to Motor City because of us, but it's kind of the only reason you guys came up here. So we're like, we wanted you guys to do well. So we're all like, I'm kind of twiddling my thumbs. We're like, please buy stuff, after a while, but eventually, the sales started picking up, and I think at one point when David said okay, I'm like, okay, we're good. Okay.
I won't say exact numbers, but it was a very good event. We did not break even, but we felt like it was the cost of travel. If it was minus that, we would have done better. I mean,
Yeah, I figure that was probably the biggest thing,
yeah,
'cause-
but it was a great event. I mean, like it was if we can magically teleport there,
right.
Right?
if you guys build a teleport, then
Adam will get on that.
come on, Adam, get it done.
Oh, wait, it's done. Don't you
Oh.
know? I went forward in time with my DeLorean and took the recipe.
I built
See,
the time
I-
machine.
that's
as I
how-
travel
that's-
into the future.
Yeah. I call it a recipe instead of a formula. How about that?
Yes.
Cash me outside. How about that? Hey, let's talk about her for a minute.
Okay.
We have to, because this is unbelievable. So she's 20 years old now, the Cash Me Outside girl. She's a rapper called Bad Bobby or something like that.
Bad baby.
Bad Baby? Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't pronounce it because it's spelled completely fucking wrong.
Yeah, because she spells it dumb. But
Yeah. Anyways, so she started an OnlyFans. Okay, can anybody guess how much money she made on that OnlyFans in the first couple weeks?
I know she made
Million?
over $1 million within the first 6 hours.
Yeah,
Wow.
16 million within the first week or so.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't post that many numbers on my OnlyFans. I might get 500,000
Yeah,
for a month. It's still
Nate's
good
not-
money.
Nate's not a 1%er. He's more top 5%er guy. So yeah,
I'm like negative $3 on mine.
yeah,
You're paying to be on it.
yeah. They keep trying to kick him off. He says no, but
He's
Yeah.
paying himself so he doesn't get kicked off.
Right.
got a couple ghost accounts, a couple burner accounts just to keep the lights on. It's fine.
They're like, we're gonna kick you off, Adam. And
Song, but I've never heard that of that person before.
what song?
Cash Me Outside.
Oh,
No, that's from Dr. Phil. That's the Dr. Phil.
yeah.
Oh,
She had this guest on. She was like a 12 or 14, between 12 and 14 years old at the time, and she spoke with a very street thick street accent. Okay,
Yeah, but
and
it was one of those, you knew she was suburban, but she talked very urban.
yeah, and she beat up her mom and all that kind of stuff, and just was a very troubled kid. And the audience said something. The audience disapproved. So she called the audience a bunch of hoes. The audience disapproved again. Somebody said something. She said she's trying to say the words "catch me outside." How about that? But she said, "Catch me outside." How about that? Or whatever the fuck she said.
I like
However
the
she
Cartman
said it.
influence on it. I like that better.
Well, it's what it sounds like. Catch me outside. How about that?
How about that?
It's
he's a
terrible.
Batman villain.
But
Yeah, it went to a weird Burgess Meredith penguin.
Is that Kit Kat behind you? Because you look like you have cat ears.
Oh no, that's
It's an actual cat.
that's Nabbit. There's Nabbit.
Hello, Nabbit.
There's Kit Kat.
No, hello, Kit Kat.
Looking on with rage, be like, you son of a bitch.
She is too. She wants me to hold her paw. She wants me to hold hands. She likes to hold hands.
So, but
I'm
yeah,
kidding.
I thoroughly enjoyed. One, I just want to thank you guys because it was like my nerd dream to actually work at Comic-Con. So
it was
just had a
amazing.
blast, so it was
Right
fun.
on.
And I don't know if David told you our encounter with celebrity people or not. So, geez, I always forget his name, but he's the bad guy from the first Karate Kid. He's the head instructor of the other school.
Oh yeah.
He was just walking around, and he walks up to the booth next to us, and is talking to the lady, and they were an art vendor, and they were selling their art, and he was kind of talking to him, and it was so funny because David and I we're literally looking back and forth, be cool, man. No, you be cool. We're not going to take pictures. We're going to be cool. Okay. Because the lady next to us was being really cool, not freaking out. Her body language is no, this happens all the time. And I'm like, this is Comic-Con. This happens. This is just stuff that happens. And you just got to be prepared not to be an idiot about it. So he finished talking to her. He walked by us, said, "Hey, how you doing?" He's very polite. "Oh, good. How, that whole thing." And then she comes over, she's like, "Why didn't you take my picture? I was giving you the take the picture sign." And I'm like, I thought I was trying to be cool, and you were being too cool, and now I'm a jerk. And yeah, it was.
There's not enough coolness going around.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not used to being cool. Typically, I'm the take pictures guy, but I did not, and she was making fun of me the rest of the weekend. But it totally looked like he just came off set, because you got,
wow.
you probably been at enough Comic Cons now where like you see some celebrities and you're like, is that you? Is that? And no, he looked like he stepped right out of hair and makeup, and he was ready to, teach them kids how to, strike hard and strike fast. So
yeah, Josh's Mark Hamill is at SF Fan Expo, and Josh is convinced that they're going to leave the venue together and go have a wild night out in the town with lightsabers and maybe some psychedelics and end up in Tijuana or something.
Totally possible.
I hope that happens.
With Josh, it is possible.
If you get stuck in Tijuana, I can't help it. My passport.
I know. There's only so many donkey shows you can see.
Oh my goodness. So, Nate, so we can get you caught up real quick. So, big thing that's going on, with the strike's finally over. There are casting rumors, and wonder if you had heard any of the casting rumors for DC and Marvel.
Well, the thing with the female Silver Surfer might be Taylor-Joy or
because she's rumored to be a villain, but if Adam, I don't know how well you're into the Fantastic Four or Nate for that matter, but I just don't. When I think villains of Fantastic Four, I think Galactus and Dr. Doom. So,
Anya Taylor-Joy is pretty, and Anya Taylor-Joy can sing. Anya Taylor-Joy should play Dazzler. Okay, now moving on. A fucking Silver Surfer, I am totally against that. Totally against that. You know I'm against that. It's just, and it's got nothing to do with feminism, and it's got nothing to do with being woke or whatever. It's got, come on, give us the Fantastic Four. That's what I want. And in order to do that story, you got to kind of, with the exception of Galactus as a cloud, bad special effects, and the fact that it was the early 2000s, which is a lot. It's a lot of those things, but that's a lot. Just in that nutshell, there, the first two Fantastic Four movies got it better than what it sounds like they're gonna do.
Still a long ways off, but still better than what they had going.
At least the heart of at least they felt like they were family. At least they, yeah. And the Silver Surfer, he was literally the herald of the Galactus. I mean, man, whatever. No, I don't know. This is bullshit.
Did you guys see the Boss Logic's fan casting of Pedro Pascal as all of the Fantastic Four?
Yes.
And Dr. Doom?
He's not allowed to take the helmet off.
Yeah, I'm not as upset as the Pedro Pascal casting as some, because I actually think he's a really good actor. I think the dude can act his ass off. But I mean, we're going strictly looks. I don't know, dude. Like, shave the mustache, put the gray in the sideburns, and we'll see how it goes. But
why can't he play Dr. Doom?
I can't see him as Dr. Doom so much, because I much prefer the other rumor of Mads Mikkelsen as Dr. Doom.
Right.
Yeah, I think that would be a good match. And there wasn't somebody random gonna play Galactus.
Galactus, I'm not sure.
I saw a rumor that it was. I want to say,
because if they're projecting, or if they're casting Galactus before they've got Silver Surfer, like, it's already, the heart's well before the card. Then So I see everybody's got the turkey yawns. So
we had tri-tip. We barbecued, and my wife said she didn't want to cook, so I barbecued. And today I had a tri-tip, which on the East Coast it's like brisket. It's a different cut of meat. Yeah. But tri-tip and cranberry sandwich today was fantastic.
Sounds good.
Today was leftover day, and my wife was making a turkey sandwich, and so we didn't cook it all. We ordered food, and so
I'm yawning. I'm yawning. I'm yawning.
So they threw in this cranberry sauce. I'm not a big cranberry guy, and everybody ate. They're like, "Ugh, this is terrible." They're like, "It's so sour," and I'm like, "Oh, I like sour." I tried. I was like, "That's not too bad." But they ended up going with the canned cranberry sauce. And so when my wife's making her sandwich, she puts a big slab of cranberry sauce, like you would put a giant tomato on there. And I was like, "Oh, how's that?" She's like, "That was terrible. Don't do that."
That's terrible. Don't do it.
I was like, "It looks like you went a little hard on the cranberry sauce for the sandwich," but I wasn't going to say anything. Yeah, we kept it rather traditional. So, yeah, Nate, since we got you on for Thanksgiving, what are some Thanksgiving staples over in the Southwest there?
We just do traditional stuff for the most part. Since I barbecued, my wife made baked beans to go with the barbecue, but everything else we had French cut green beans, stuffing, yams with marshmallows on top. Like, yeah,
pretty basic stuff then.
Yep,
sounds good.
It would have been better if you guys took me up on my invite.
Well, typically I'm supposed to be in
Pennsylvania
at this time, but that didn't work out, and also I'm as broke as Adam, so I'm just like, yeah, it's probably for the best. We just keep it all in house this year, and we just went over to my mother-in-law's and had a very, very lovely evening. Minus the football portion, but
yeah, we don't want to talk about that game.
Right. So, what do you guys got? Nate, you're putting out a bunch of stuff for Killer Hair. How's that going? At least on social media wise, anyway.
I'm doing it for class, and class will be done in a couple weeks. So I have one more thing I'm waiting for, but it's pretty much done. It'll be like a teaser. I call it 0.5. Maybe it'll be a collectible one day. I don't know. I tried to think ahead, but
how much are the CGC copies going to be then?
Oh, well, you know, my middle name is CGC. So. Just trying to figure out. Sophia is going to do the artwork and how to move forward. So just to be honest with you guys, trying to rethink the whole comic book thing, because it's not working out quite like we thought it would. That doesn't mean we're gonna...
Yeah, that was part of the conversation earlier, where American comic books are just not in a great place, unfortunately.
Yeah. So. Well, I don't want to throw the towel in, but it's like, if we do the con circuit and we're making enough money to do the con circuit, it's like, are we ever going to profit?
Yeah, there's no net there.
So yeah, we're trying to see how to. I mean, we finished. We finished Out of the Chihuahuas. That's fantastic. So we're gonna do a Kickstarter in January for issue 5, and then we'll do a Kickstarter for the trade paperback. Did I show you guys the artwork for the trade?
No.
This guy is from Ontario. His name is
Canada?
One of those.
Okay. It's not too far from us.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Can I?
That's cool.
Hold on a second.
Your phone just got brighter.
Well, it's at the top. There's a Chihuahua with a moon behind it, and the guy is.
I should mention, I think I have seen that. It's awesome art.
Yeah. So his name's Jeff Monk, and He's up in Ontario. Hold on, what's Ontario's a state, right?
No, well, it's a Providence.
It's a province in Canada.
Yeah, I think he's in Toronto.
Okay.
Right,
but yeah,
fella.
he did that in like a day. Oh, and then here, you guys haven't seen this either. But that's our trade paperback. But this is really cool. So this is an homage.
Oh,
Very nice.
is that an homage to The Exorcist?
Oh yeah.
Yep. So it's
What's
a gigantic chihuahua with shining eyes, and then there's Johnny with a shotgun.
I was gonna say, what's he holding? Because
It's awesome.
In the poster, he's holding the priest is holding a briefcase, but here and this guy, this is Max Flowers. He did that in literally 24 hours, and that's a comic book store is doing an exclusive cover with us, and that's their exclusive cover.
that's awesome.
Yeah, but I don't know why I was rambling, but we got to rethink the way we're doing this, because we came out guns blazing. It's been a ton of fun, but we have to rethink our approach. Hey, there was a post that somebody put about how much artists should be getting paid, and I really agree with that. But it's like, if you think about acting, like, yeah, actors can make tons of money. They're not all qualified to to make that much money, and I don't know if this is a fair analogy. And it's like, well, if you don't want the work at a lower price, then don't take it. Only take work that is at the price you want. You'll probably work less, but you'll get the rate you want. So I don't know, because I want artists to be respected, and that, but it's like, we can't just continue to make comics and like hand out money, because we're gonna run out of money eventually.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're not independently wealthy just making comic books for fun.
Right.
Yeah. If
No,
I
but
said
maybe animation.
$100 a book, that'd be great.
Well, even getting back to your, the actor analogy, like all the actors, usually say, yeah, I'll do the big budget movies, but that's so that I can make money. So there's enough money to be made so that I can make all the independent movies, that they want to go work on. So,
Yeah.
it's just, it's tough. And probably for independent creators, the best way to go about it is Kickstarter or some other crowdfunded thing. But, there's such a, there's so many projects on Kickstarter. Like, if you go search comic books on Kickstarter, it's like everybody and their brother's got a Kickstarter for a comic that they have an idea. And I'm sure there's lots of good ideas there, but it's kind of like anything. If you don't know who these guys are, like Chuck Dixon is putting up, stuff over there. So yeah, Chuck Dixon's his Kickstarters that do just fine, because he's a name. But to find the next, he's synonymous with Nightfall and all that stuff. All the some of the prime Batman runs from the 90s and 2000s, but he's got his name built up, for the like Nate and some other guys who are kind of trying to kick in the door a little bit. It's really difficult. So it's it's like a lot of things, like even on YouTube, I think we do a pretty good show. Does anyone know who we are? No. It's bastards. Yeah, it's everybody else's fault.
It's everybody else's fault.
Yeah, man, it's a tough go, and it's just somehow, just if there were a formula to it, everybody would be doing the same form.
That's I think what we're gonna kind of shift gears to, and I mean, I haven't even talked to everybody about this, but like bringing it more into like a hobby. And still create. Like, you guys don't rely on this, podcast for your income, and I don't either. I don't rely on your podcast for income.
You'll be waiting for a while.
Yes, let's see here. Carry the 1 minus the 0, still 0 as it turns out. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't rely on the comic books for an income, and I still enjoy it. So from all the lessons we've learned, I think we're going to turn to Night of the Killer Hair and like try to condense it and make it more streamlined and see what happens.
Yeah, because like even YouTubers, like I don't know who's the, you know who he is. He's one of the bigger
Mr.
comic
Beast?
book.
Oh no.
Not YouTube, just like comic book YouTubers. Was it comics?
Oh, Reggie
Variant.
Phillip?
Variant.
I
Ariskinones. A variant.
I can't remember exactly, but he's one of the bigger comic book YouTubers, and he's like, "Look, guys, unless DC and Marvel make a huge shift, like I gotta pivot, and make do content for something else because just in general, comic book content on YouTube just doesn't work. You have Thinking Critical is one of the the YouTubers I go to for comic news, and you see him pivoting more to stuff that we talk about, the movies aspect and all that stuff. A lot of people are pivoting away from comic book content in general. So
Yeah, I mean, if there's nothing good to talk about,
there's only so much content you can make about not great content. So
yeah,
Dang.
yeah.
It's funny too because like comics, it's like you can only go so far. Like I follow collectors and wholesale or whatnot sailors, and it's like everybody. It's like Venom, ASM 300. Like I've seen this like 1,000 times. Like you guys have
Right.
nothing new to like put out there. I mean, I guess that's the thing that lady told us the other day. She's like, it's a statistic that sex sells. So if you make a naughty cover, that people will buy it. And I'm like, that's like so cliche. Like, like just have a naked woman and like, oh, it sells.
but it has to though, because some of the places I've gone to go get either a book that I like or a cover that I like, they'll have the naughty cover, the naughtier cover, and then she's just naked at that point. And the next cover, I'm like, who's buying the naked cover? I'm like, it's still an animated person. Like it still blows my mind. Like there's the OnlyFans people. I was like, guys, there's a lot of free porn out there. Like
if you put Bad Baby in the third panel instead of me and you have her gyrating, you'll have lots of viewers.
Yeah, so all you have to do, Nate, is put Bad Baby on one of your variant covers to the moon, figure it out. Bingo, bingo. Yeah.
We're rich.
And she could be mouthing off to a chihuahua that says, "Catch me outside."
Yeah,
I just want to see a naughty chihuahua on its back with 8 nipples. Nick's not even laughing.
No, well, because I was looking at one of the. I was checking my emails to see if I could find the example real quick. I get them like weekly, and they're always like insert female character, and it's just like here's the naughtier. I'm like, golly, okay. By then she's gonna be.
Well, let's bring Gen 13 back. Damn it, that'll fix it.
Fair child.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now she's a teenager in freaking DC, so that's
a lethargic one. A lethargic one with fucking narcolepsy or something.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Set, but they made her like
Nick was just disowning me when he.
No, I was trying to look at my emails for a quick. Cause like I said, I get them at least weekly, and with it being Black Friday, I'm sure there's a few in email box. But it's just, it's always, there's always an element of any market where you're like, who's buying that? But they keep cranking them out, so someone's buying them. I mean, I am not that demographic, but
I went to a print shop. We printed a cover to test out a new shop, and like I walked in and it was just TNA like everywhere, like nude covers is like everywhere. I was like, whoa! Like, did you guys print anything else?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's and then now with like AI, it's like now you just kind of got to tell the AI what you want, and it's like, well, there you go. There's your porn, I guess. But
come on, little guy, go down there. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just just the most comics, even Turtles. People are like waiting for issue 150 and beyond after I think it's Stephanie Brown or whoever whoever it is, but whoever's been doing
Stephanie Brown.
not Stephanie, that's not Stephanie Brown, but whoever been writing the Turtles for the last 4 years, they're finally wrapping up their run because they turned the Mutant Town, which is just a trans allegory story. Everybody's like, can we please get out of Mutant Town now? Or, it's just like there's just.
Do you want to know how
there's only one comic book creator right now who's doing anything worth a damn, and it's Mark Millar, as far as big names go.
You want to know how ingrained that was in me? I almost said my Stephanie Brown.
Right. Like Batgirl Stephanie Brown.
She was spoiler first, but still.
You know what I really enjoyed? Distillery is a collective. I don't know if you guys saw this, but it's a collective of artists and writers, and they put out a thing called The Devil's Cut, and I read it. It's an anthology, but it was like, I don't know. It was a lot of fun. I've been picking up kind of like independent and obscure things, trying to see where fresh ideas are. There's one story in there called The White Boat that really creeps me out. I didn't even finish reading it.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, it's got into like the third page. It's like, ew, I don't like this very much.
Well, and it's funny you say it because even while we were at Comic-Con, because there were a couple guys that you guys had met previously, and one was an artist, and he would come over periodically when there was a lull at his booth, and I remember he was just talking. He's like, dude, he was talking to David. He's like, dude, I want you to write the script about a werewolf. And like, because he would come over and show some of the art he did. I was like, I'm interested in what you're doing. And he's like, oh, I want you to write a Daredevil, or not a Daredevil, but a werewolf script, for this. And I'm like, I'm immediately intrigued by this story. I'm already intrigued. I already want some of this, and it's just like, and he's like, dude, like, I love the way this guy writes a script. And I was like, I'm in already. You guys doing werewolf stuff. Let's do that, please. So
there you go.
I hope I didn't, break any confidentiality agreement, but whatever. I bet. But yeah, it's just like, as far as Big Two, like, there's nothing. There's not a damn thing the Big Two's got going that I'm really intrigued.
And I feel like it's so hard for the little guys, like even those artists and stuff that they're talking about, or they were talking about how much they should charge. If you look at the cons, like the cons charge a ton of money for an artist to come there. They might not even break even. Like,
then you got the Big Two acting like the Catholic the Catholic Church out there, that they don't pay taxes and they end up fucking the little guy.
Yeah.
Well, even just how much was it for internet at the con?
$250.
Yeah, it was $250 just to have like functional internet.
They don't need to charge that much.
No, they don't. But also, like, one of the bigger artists who were at the show, like, yeah, they made that money while I was standing in the line. But for like, just because even the people like we were next to, no one had the internet there because it was $250. Like, you're like, tack that onto the charges where I have to get to even make it worth coming out to this con. It's like, holy jeez, guys, like give them a break. And then, that's on top of whatever the cost is just to get a table. It's like, goodness gracious, guys.
We're going to try to focus on shows where we're guests in going forward, and like trying to expand that list of like, either we get there for free or we get a table for free, or we got invited to a show in Dallas in February where you get a table in a hotel for free.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty outstanding.
So you just got to get there.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and that's how cons used to be, man. Like, it's just please show up. That's what we need. We want people to come.
Yes.
And now it's such an industry where, like, well, we're going to get it on both ends. We're going to take it out of the fans' ass. Oh, and we're going to take it out of the vendors' ass. Well, good luck with that.
Yep.
In a not great economy, and by the way, a not great industry right now.
And it's extreme in the mainstream. You know what I mean? It's not something. It's not underground, man.
Yeah, comic books have always been a very niche market, and it was cool that everybody liked comic books there for a few minutes, but it's everything's like the stock market. There's dips and highs and lows and the whole deal, but
You think it'll bounce back?
it's got to come from the big two. And I think we were just talking before you hopped on, where where's Jim Lee, CB Cebulski, all these people, all the big wigs at the big two going, hey fans, what do you want? We're not, clearly we're not selling like we used to. Fans, what do you guys want? Instead of here's more of the same nonsense, we're just going to keep pushing out stuff that hasn't sold, will not sell. Why not just go, hey fans, what do you want? And we're just going to be like, the 90s and the early 2000s, do that.
Yeah, and even the 80s.
And
the stuff they did in the 80s.
And pay your people right.
Yeah.
Because Mark Millar came out with, I think he was kind of a breakdown for, creators, because you have to incentivize creators. You simply have to. You can't go with the old method of, hey, that thing that you created that's a big deal. You don't own that. No, like you have to give some rights back to the creators. Like if there's no reason to stick around at DC and Marvel if you've got a good idea. If you've got a good idea and you work at the big two, you should probably take it to Image or some other independent indie publisher, because you're not going to make any money.
I found that out about Image. Is if you go with Image, they don't keep any of your your intellectual property rights. So that was pretty cool, because
that's the reason Image was created, because it was created by Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, Mark Silvestri, Todd McFarlane, all those guys. That's why it was created, because they were like, we want to do all these cool ideas, but if you do them at the big two, they become big two properties, and you're going to get the same rates no matter if you're a character or not. Like McFarlane still does pretty okay because he still gets rights from Venom, but how often do characters take off? It's a lot of work to put that much work into a character, and then it might not even, it doesn't resonate.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So you've got a lot of creative people, but people that just aren't willing to take the risk of their character falling flat.
Plus a lot of stuff's been done too. There aren't a lot of, I think they need to bring back the Wildstorm universe and keep it the Wildstorm universe.
Yeah, but instead of trying to develop it into DC, because it doesn't work and it hasn't caught on. They keep trying to take like Grifter. Grifter's probably one of the more popular characters from Wildstorm, and they keep trying to like interject him with Batman stuff and trying to, kind of like the old school wrestling days, to try and hype the guy up and then hopefully to get him over. But I'm like, I love Grifter, but Grifter is a character that should get a mini series here and there, pop up here and there. That's about it.
It should be Grifter and Backlash. Just saying.
Oh yeah, it should be the good old Kindred days. Yeah.
How do the Rockers do it?
Yeah. Right.
Oh.
But it's just like he doesn't need a 30-year ongoing series. Like he doesn't have that's just not who he is. He's not. And also he's not the Deadpool of DC, so stop trying to do that. Thank you very much.
Oh God. Yeah, no shit. DC doesn't need a Deadpool.
They ripped Deadpool off Deathstroke.
No, Deadpool was a ripoff of Deathstroke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slade Wilson, Wade Wilson, all that good stuff. Nick, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to the Batman 6 segment of our show.
No, it's fine. So we can hold that off for another day.
I got to get one myself. I got called for dinner.
Well, appreciate you stopping by.
It's very good to see your face, sir, and hear your voice. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, and just thank you guys again for showing up and going Team Chihuahua. I hope your wildest dreams came true.
It was fun. I had a blast.
I had
a blast too. So
right on.
All right, see you, Nate.
All right, guys.
See you, Nate.
So But yeah, we can start to wrap it up. That went longer than I thought it would. Actually,
Yeah, but I'm down. If you're down tomorrow, let me know. I'm down tomorrow to stream again. I would love to talk about Batman and Adam West.
yeah, sure. So, all right, well, let's wrap this one up. So, Adam, if you want to see what we're going to talk about or keep up on some nerdy goodness, you can check us out on the Facebook and Instagram, and
The YouTubes.
the YouTubes. Yeah, if you like what we're talking about, go check us out on YouTube. Where you actually get to see our beautiful faces talking about nerdy stuff. And if you just want to listen to us, you can go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and Google Podcasts, and see what we're talking about on there, which is basically what we're talking about here, but just an audible audio format. So
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. See.
All right. Anything else you want to say to the people?
Good night, Planet Houston.
Good night, America. Happy Thanksgiving.